Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're reacting to Yes Theory's brand new video exploring an abandoned $30 million Soviet luxury resort. I don't know if you should be making these videos because who knows, man, they'll be at your back door with a sniper and poison your food. You randomly die of a heart attack. You shoot yourself in the back of the head 4 times. That's mad.
We'll probably never get to travel in time. But certain places in the world allow us to open that door just faintly and leave the rest of the picture to be painted by our imagination. That's what learning about our past through abandoned places enables for me. And hidden within a forest lies a fascinating place. Once a decadent spa town and a Soviet destination that attracted the elites of the Communist Party, including Joseph Stalin himself, for its natural springs that were said to have healing powers. Allowing us to open that door to the past, Skatulbo is now a collection of crumbling hotels, bathhouses, and sanatoriums, left abandoned for decades. Except for one of the spas still open and operating today, which is where we'll be staying. But the history of this place is a lot deeper and more complex than meets the eye. And so, we open yet another chapter in our ex-Soviet Union adventures, as we seek to answer many questions around what happened to this small country after the Soviet Union left and collapsed, and what this once elegant city turned into. As a nation with a dark history filled with tyrants and a displaced population, this is the story of Georgia.
The man who is in charge of the gate here is upset at us because we're late. He was sleeping.
Our trip immediately began on a strange note, as we were staying in the only spa resort still open in the city out of the previously 18 operational ones.
It feels like we're arriving like a haunted place right now. Hopefully it all goes alright.
Yeah, we are the guests, the only guests.
Welcome to another strange Yes Theory adventure.
I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to sleep. It's so creepy.
Oh wow. I have like an apartment.
Sleep well?
Thank you.
We started the morning by meeting our guide, Lucas, a local Yes Fam member who was born and raised in this city, in fact, and whose grandma worked here. He will be helping us find its hidden corners and understand its peculiar history.
Very curious about this place. It's kind of weird arriving. I didn't fully connect that we were like staying in the middle of it. When we arrived, I was like, is this a part of it?
So we started filming last night. We're like, are we staying in the thing that we thought was abandoned?
This is the only sanatorium that kept working even after Soviet Union collapsing. This town got like 120,000 visitors per year. Obviously, it's a huge part of our history now. So let's go and see the chandelier that they have and check the rooms that they had in Soviet Union era.
Okay, let's go.
Thomas and his strange fascination with Soviet times. I love it though.
Our exploration started in the hotel resort we were actually staying in. Originally one of the many Soviet-era sanitariums in this town, a sanatorium was an establishment focused on therapeutic and medical treatment for a variety of ailments, and this town's sanatoriums were famous for their healing spa centers.
It was built by Georgian architects, but it was built by German enslaved people from World War II.
Wait, German enslaved people from World War II?
Yeah.
But
That were captured by the
They were
Russians.
captured by the Russians.
Like soldiers
yeah.
or...
Yeah.
I see.
This story is getting darker by the second.
This first resort out of the many others we'll be seeing is one of the few still remaining buildings in town which was refurbished after the fall of the Soviet Union and turned into a modern hotel resort in 2011. Although it has only been operational for 13 years, its architecture still remains from its Soviet origins, and walking through its halls truly feels like stepping back in time.
What do you think they performed up here?
Probably a lot of music, I guess.
Amar's a really good singer, actually.
Oh, okay.
So right now we're going into a part of the sanatorium that is very close to the one that's still active that we are staying in, where the rooms are completely preserved from the Soviet times. So they're closed, so you can't like stay in them, but they're not totally decrepit and destroyed. So we're gonna see it. We're hoping it hasn't fallen apart too much. We have this elderly man who's coming with us who has the keys to the building.
there's also the spas around, like bathhouses, where the radium water, I think it's radium, it's radioactive, but if you have like doctor's permission, you can take these baths.
Another addition to this town's already strange history is the peculiar phenomenon that made the town famous for its healing properties: the presence of radioactive water in its natural hot springs. Yeah, the spring water in this town contained radon, a radioactive gas deemed a health risk by American environmental agencies, but paradoxically has been utilized in certain parts of Europe for generations as a therapeutic remedy for various health conditions. As we make our way through this gigantic, abandoned network of buildings, we were now about to enter the building that gave this spa its notoriety in the first place, Spring Number 6. Built exclusively for Joseph Stalin at the time, it is the largest thermal bath still operating today.
Yeah, when they've had deadline of Stalin coming here, they've hired, I think, 4,000 extra workers to finish in time, so he would be able to get his private bath, which we're gonna see right now.
It's strange to me that in old Soviet places, I mean, they've kept this, I guess, as like a relic of history, but statues of Stalin still exist. That's a strange thing to me. I've seen even in, Transnistria, this country that doesn't exist inside Moldova. In some cafes, there are like posters of him. It's crazy. It's very backwards when you know the millions of people that he killed.
Stalin is considered one of the most notorious tyrants and dictators in history, with an estimated 9 million of his own civilians killed or starved under his rule. As Stalin was Georgia-born, the country was therefore favored by the dictator and positioned as a leisure destination in the Soviet Union. This room was built exclusively for his use in 1951, which he only used once before passing away a few years later in 1953.
What's your feelings when you feel like
A little bit disgusted. Yeah.
This building right here looks like a UFO spaceship.
A unique and strange part about these times was the way their vacations worked.
Basically, twice a year, you'd get a ticket that would allow you to travel somewhere. But the Soviet Union would pick where you were going. So you might get a ticket to go to Ukraine, maybe here in Georgia. And they give it to you, and you'd end up just being sent there in a housing that's assigned to you. It's strange to think that that's, at one point, how a very large portion of the world was operating. The complex that we are exploring is massive. It is basically an entire city, and as we're driving around, there's the abandoned post office, the abandoned train station, the abandoned KGB building, and so basically all of the Soviet infrastructure has been left behind, and some buildings have been bought, like this one, for example, was abandoned, was purchased, and I guess is maybe a project to reconstruct it. The question is, can we sneak into it?
He passed 2 times, this guy.
He's passed 2 times? Yeah.
I hope we're not gonna get arrested. Yay!
He's always making everything sound like a joke.
I would not want to be arrested in Georgia, please. I always feel sad being in a place like this, knowing that so many resources were poured into it, and then ultimately it's just left to rot like that. Wow, look at this. Whenever I see plants like that just growing, I always feel like the power of nature reclaiming the planet back. No matter how much we build, how much concrete, how much steel we put into this, plants find a way to grow. Another abandoned building.
So you grew up in this area?
Yeah, I grew up like 5 kilometers away from here. Me and my friends, we usually would go around and explore this abandoned building. I was born in 2000. It was not the best time to have a child. Yeah, my mom emigrated when I was 6. She moved to Greece to help finance my studies, my clothing, basically everything.
She moved to Greece just to send money back
Yeah.
to help you?
Yeah.
So did your dad raise you then, or like what?
No, I was raised by my grandparents, my dad's parents. My grandpa's 84, my grandma's 72. I still live with them. They took really good care of me. And this is not just my story. This is basically like 80% of Georgian's story who was born in 2000. Because yeah, most of our families, moms, dads, they usually went out of the country to help us.
How often would you see your mom growing up?
Growing up, there was 11 years that I didn't see her.
11 years?
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was lacking something in my life because my grandma and grandpa filled my life with all the joy. They literally gave me everything. They're like my parents, and I have huge respect for them. But yeah, that's what made me me, and here I am now.
It's a really nice hoodie, man.
Actually, let me tell you about it. This is the new Seek Discomfort collection. Lucas told me earlier that he liked the sweater, so...
Whoa, I really like that sweater you're wearing.
Wow, fascinating. If you trust anyone's opinion, trust Luke.
Yeah, exactly. It's high quality. Like you can actually feel the letters. Even when you wash it, like it's probably not gonna lose the color. Probably. I mean, if he gives me one or two, I can test it out and yeah, give the feedback.
Actually,
Thank you so much. A head full of fears has no space for dreams. Oh, it smells nice. It's worth just paying for the smell. Yeah. To get this amazing shirt, guys, just have to go to seekdiscomfort.com and just order it. Nice. Yay!
this building that we're exploring right now was used the early 90s as a home for IDPs, internally displaced people. As you zoom in to the Google Maps of Georgia, there's a few dotted lines I've been very curious about for a very long time, and those are occupied territories, unrecognized by other countries, occupied by Russia. 80% of the people that lived in Abkhazia, one of these countries that doesn't exist inside of Georgia, left, and many of them fled to this specific region. So when the Soviets left and these sanatoriums were basically abandoned, Georgia moved the people from that region into some of these buildings. Now they have modern buildings built just outside, but initially, as the whole crisis happened, they just housed them here. This building was first used as a sanitarium and then as kind of like a IDP center where people came and lived for some time. So Georgia is filled with layers, and there are many aspects to this story. Humbled to be here and learning about it and getting to see glimpses of its past through these buildings.
We'd heard that there were many Georgians who were displaced after the fall of the Soviet Union. Most of them were moved to these abandoned resort buildings. We were about to speak to one of these people, a woman who'd been living inside this abandoned building for over 30 years.
There's someone here. There's a woman that came from this one.
Oh, yeah.
There's someone there?
Yeah.
Sounds like.
ისკიდე ჩვენი საოთახი. მაგრამ აქ უფრო გეგულობ ჩემს სტუმრებს.
That's where she accepts the guests.
გაიხარეთ, ჩამოჯექი
You
დაბძანდი.
can have a sit.
არც არაყის მიირთმევ ჭაჭას.
Jaja, shot of Jaja.
ეხლა მოვიდა. ოკეი. და მე რო სტუმრები მომივა, ხო? მე მინდა ჩემი ქვეყანა რო ვანახო. რო როგორი ხალხი ვარ, როგორი ერი ვარ ჩვენ.
I know you drink, so maybe I can I put some water in it just to share the moon over there? I'll get some water.
გაგვიმარჯოს. გისურვებთ უკან დაბრუნებას და მეც საკუთარ თავს ვუსურვებ, რომ ოდესმე შეძლო მაგ ადგილის ნახვა.
ამინ.
Cheers, mama.
შენ სამშობლოს გაუმარჯოს.
To all of our
მშვიდობიან ქვეყანაში გვეცხოვროს და კარგად ვიყო.
You got such a lovely smile.
ძალიან საყვარელი ხიმილი გაქვთ.
რა ვიცი, გიმილი დავტოვეთ აფხაზეთში. აი უთხარი როგორც ეგერ აფხაზეთი, my house, აფხაზია. აი, აქ ცხოვრობდი მე.
That's where she lived.
აი,
Yeah.
აი ეს ასე რუსმა წაიღო.
That's all the like Russians took part
აი
of
ეს
part.
რუსმა. ეხლა ომი იყო, ბავშვები პატარები მყავდა, ჩემი მეუღლე დაიჭრა, აი ისა ჩემი მეუღლე აგერ.
That's her husband and he got shot.
ხო.
He got shot.
Yeah.
ხოდა ცოტა ხანი იცოცხლა, ომის ვეტერანის წოდება მისცეს და გარდაიცვალა და
And she's been here for 33 years.
33 წელი რაც აქ ხარ, ხო?
ხო.
ხო. Yes, it's
In
been
this building?
შენობაში.
ხო.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
When she got displaced, did she think it was going to be this long, or did she think that it was more of a temporary thing?
ჩვენ ასე გვეგონა, რომ თუმცა ცოტა ხანი იქნება და ჩვენ დავბრუნდებით ის დღემდე ლოდინში ვართ. რა ვიცი რა იქნება, როდის იქნება. მაინც გული ვტკივა.
Do you still hold hope in your heart that you're going to go back?
მენატრება.
Yeah, and she misses it.
As the world feels like it's descending into this new episode of darkness with all the wars that are happening, what's her message to the world?
მე ხალხს ვუჩვევდი რომ ერთმანეთი გვიყვარდეს. ერთმანეთს მოვეფეროთ, მოვესიყვარულო და ის ზევით გაიგებს ის ბუნება. კიდე რომ არა ვართ მთლად ცუდი ხალხი. ხო და გადავაჭარბოთ იმას იმ ცუდ ხალხს ჩვენ სიკეთით, სიტყვით და სიყვარულით. მარტო სიყვარული გადაგვარჩენს. ერთმანეთის მოფერება და მოსიყვარულება. ხომ შემეძლო მე მაგალითად ახლა თქვენ, დამანები ახლა თქვენ თავი არ ამაქვს მე. ეს შეიძლება? უფალმა თქვა, ისე მოეკეცის ხვას, როგორც შენ გინდა მოგეცენო. რა ვიცი, აბა შეიძლება თლა მშიერი მოდი დღეს, ფეხი დაგისვლა და ამწვიმა და იმაში ჩემანდი რომ მოსულიყა და მე მეთქვა არა ბატონო არ მცალია. მე ამ ფერ გაჭირება გამოვლილ ქალს. შემიძლია ამის თქმა? არაფრით არ შემიძლია. ხო და მე აი თქვენთან რო ვარ, ეს სიტყვა და სიყვარული თვარ მე თქვენთან.
I don't even know what she said.
მე ახლა ასე მგონია ეს
ვიცი რას ამბობს, მაგრამ ხო ხედავ ციხე ადგა.
მე ასე მგონია რომ ახლა ეს მყავს მე დიდი ხნის ნანახი.
She says that it feels like I've known him for a lot of time.
არა და აი პირველად
It's for sure if it's time you guys are meeting.
თქვენ დედას მადლობა უთხარით რომ თქვენ კარგი შვილი გაგზარდა. ესი მადლობა კარგად. კარგად.
How many rooms were in this specific sanitarium?
Nearly 400.
400.
Yeah, it was always full. I think they moved out of here like 2 years ago, because a few months ago when I went here, there were people swimming in the pool and they were
Really?
having fun around here. Yeah.
Wow.
They were living here.
So I'm curious because your grandparents grew up during the Soviet times. How do they feel about that time era?
They did miss it for some time, just because, during the Soviet era, like, it was basically not allowed to not to work. So everyone had a job, everyone had money, everything was pretty much cheap. But also the part when Soviet Union tried to erase the identity of Georgia, that's the part which my grandparents are kind of mad about. Yeah, they tried to erase our language, they tried to just erase everything and make us Russian.
Yeah, there are a lot of people now that struggled transitioning into that phase.
It was really tough transitioning. There was no electricity after Soviet Union collapsed. There was no food. People were in line to get just bread. So yeah, it was really tough times. And all the families had certain amount of bread that they could get. So it was tough after collapsing. Yeah, color is stunning, but I just really wish I could see this thing how it was fresh. Well, I'm not fantasizing about Soviet Union, but the fact is that this would have looked beautiful.
Yeah, how do you feel about Georgia today?
I'm feeling really positive. Like 5 years ago, I was kind of planning to move out of the country, but now there's a lot of things that I can do. And I enjoy living here. It's really safe.
I hope Georgia continues in this positive direction.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think it's heavily dependent on people, on us, rather than just the government that's ruling. Because there were some things that we didn't like, and then we protest, and then the protest actually has results. Like government dropping the law after the protest. Like even if you went here 3 years ago, that would be like huge difference coming here this year.
I think a lot of times when we want to criticize what's around us, we forget that we're a part of what's around us. And one of my favorite quotes is, we blame society, but we are society. So I think it's a matter of just not dissociating from the fact that government is also people. And I love your love for your country, man.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. It took me some time.
That's
too.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
As we arrived with a very limited understanding of this country's history, we were able to faintly open that door into the past through this semi-abandoned Soviet city and paint a clearer picture of what those challenging times were like for Georgia. We think that studying our past is imperative to not repeat the same mistakes tomorrow. And so we hope that we, as the next generation, would listen to these stories and choose more wisely a future of peace once and for all. If you want to support our ability to create independent short documentaries like this, the ultimate way to do that is through our clothing line, Seek Discomfort. Our new drop, Shine Through Fear, is available only for another few days on seekdiscomfort.com. We're super proud of it. Either way, I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.